What's up, my people? Before we start the show, make sure you like the video, comment on the commentary, and subscribe to the channel. Become a part of the GVG family, because without you, there's no us. And as always, we thank you, and all praises to the Most High. Now let's get into it. Yo, what up, everybody? It's your boy, Hally, back again. Gvg Podcast, Detroit represented to the day that I die. East side in the building. You know how we do, man. We about to really get into this one, man. This is a good GVG Podcast. This is going out to all my people. I just want to thank everybody for being here and just being with us on this journey. We thank you. We love all of you. This is a special one that goes out to all of my people out there who's dealing with withdrawal. I'm not about to try to act like I'm the man or act like I know everything. This is just something that's been on the Spirit, the Holy Spirit. And this is something that I really wanted to talk to people about. And hopefully it's something that, we can help you with. So we're going to get into it, man. Just stay with me on this one. And to all my people, keep your head up. Let's go. Y'all know how I do. I get my points off the phone and then I go on the fly. So we're going to let the Holy Spirit talk today. Bear with your boy. We love you. GVG Podcast. Let's get into it. Today we're going to be talking about withdrawal from drugs and alcohol. Withdrawal from substance abuse. Withdrawal from things, period. We're going to go to the first point. The first point is withdrawal is a spirit. So if you were to ask me, Hally, how is withdrawal a spirit? In this life, I don't think a lot of people understand that we have spirits attached to us. You could have the spirit of depression, anger, anxiety, alcoholism, pornography. It goes on and on down the list. All of these spirits have a name and they have a lust or a longing for something. So there is a spirit of withdrawal. So this is for the people who have said, I'm not doing it anymore. And what happens is when you're smoking a blunt or smoking crack or drinking a bottle of liquor or whatever you're doing, the spirit is satisfied. Then you get to a point where you say, I'm not going to do this. I'm done with alcohol. I'm done with drugs. I'm done with this. I'm done with that. What happens is that spirit understands that you are trying to break ties with them. See, a person who watches porn or who is addicted to porn and they say, I'm not going to watch it today. That spirit understands that I'm going to keep yelling and getting louder until one day you do. It may be 2 weeks later. It may be 2 months later, but I'm going to get louder and louder in your head and in your mind and in your soul until you give in. And once you give in, that spirit is silent again until it needs its fix again. So when you say, I'm done with pornography, the spirit of withdrawal comes in. When you say I'm done with cocaine, I'm done with heroin, there is a spirit of withdrawal that comes in that says, oh, you think you done with me? I'm going to show you who done. That spirit is actually up in arms now. So yes, withdrawal is a spirit that can be attached to you, and it's there when you're not giving that spirit what it wants. So we're going to dive more into what withdrawal is, what it does, and how it affects you, and how it is a spirit, and how you're going to have to fight. This is a battle and this is a war. This is for my people who are going through things and who are trying to stop. Withdrawal is a spirit. Look at it that way, and you have done 50% of the battle. If you look at it that way, you have already conquered 50% of the battle, understanding that withdrawal is a spirit. We're going to go to the next point. Let's go. Now that you understand withdrawal is a spirit, you have to understand this second point. Now you'll be getting attacked by the spirits attached to the addiction. So when you're addicted to something, that means that you can't say no to it. You are no longer in control of it, right? You have no control over your actions or your functions when it comes to this thing. So once you try to get control, you start to get attacked by the spirits that are attached to whatever it is. So if it's cigarettes, if it's alcohol, if it's weed, if it's drugs, if it's past relationships, whatever they are, there are spirits that are going to try and attack you now. There are spirits that are going to be up in arms to say, I'm going to do whatever I can to get you to submit. They're going to do whatever they can to get you back where you were. They're going to attack and pounce and use tactics and different levels of whatever they use to get you back there. Because all they want is that same feeling that you have been getting them. Once you break that routine, they are willing to do whatever they have to get you back to that routine. So yes, the spirits that are attached to alcohol, the spirits that are attached to drugs, they are going to use tactics that you may not be ready for. You may be trying to kick something, but you're not understanding, why is this happening? Why do I have the urge? Why do I want to go back to the crack house? Why do I want to go back to the store and get that drink? Why do I want to go back to this past relationship? Why do I want to call the cocaine man? Why do I want to call the weed man? Why am I tripping? Why am I going through things? Why can't I function properly? It's because now those spirits are attacking you to try to get you to submit, to go back into the form that you were in, which in turn feeds their lust. We're going to go to the next point. The harder the drug, the harder the spirit. You will say, what does that mean? If you're addicted to weed, or you're addicted to cigarettes, one of those spirits is going to be tougher to kick than the other. If you're addicted to cocaine, or you're addicted to heroin or alcohol, one of those spirits are going to be harder to kick than the other. If you have a pill habit, if you have a heroin habit, these are strong spirits that are attached to that. See, when you do something for the first time, let's say you smoked weed for the first time, that was your introduction. The spirit is nowhere near strong enough to make you want to have it all day. When you do crack or heroin or drink your first beer or a shot of liquor, that's the introduction. The spirit is nowhere near big enough to control you. But it's as you go along and you go along and you go along, you start to see that spirit is, the cup is filling up. And spirits never get full. It just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So what happens is eventually you get to a point where that spirit has to be fulfilled more and more and more. And it goes from introduction to second nature. You start doing these things by second nature, and before you know it, it becomes a part of your life. And once it becomes a part of your life, it is so hard to uproot it. So what that means is the spirit of heroin is so much harder to get off. It's so much harder to battle with than the spirit of marijuana. Why? Because marijuana isn't as harsh of a drug as heroin. Don't get me wrong. There are people today that I know say, I can't stop smoking, bro. I don't care. They're there. But they will never understand the battle that a heroin addict goes through because the spirits are different. The withdrawal from weed is going to be completely different than the withdrawal from alcohol or the withdrawal from heroin or from crack or cocaine. The withdrawals are different. They are different spirits. So understand that on today, that the reason you're fighting and battling and don't know why you can't kick this and don't know why this is so hard is because sometimes we fall into those hard drugs. We fall into those hard drugs. And it's so hard for us to come back from it. It's so hard for you to come back from an Oxycontin habit or narco or, a Vicodin habit, a morphine habit. It is hard to come back from these things because of what they do to you. Physically, mentally, spiritually, they are next level. I always say you see people who have a grip on cocaine for the first 5 years, maybe. But then after 6 to 10 to 15 years, you notice there's something wrong with them. You notice that the drug has taken over them and they don't have control of the drug anymore. These drugs, these spirits of these drugs are hard. They are the biggest battlers that you will ever go against. And some of us don't make it out. Understand, people, that I'm just trying to help you on today. I know that some people will say you don't understand, you don't know. Well, I'm trying to empathize and I'm trying to just show people why a lot of these things happen. You can agree, you can disagree. It's okay. I still love you. You're still my brother or my sister. But understand that there is a stronghold of drugs on our people, and there is a stronghold of withdrawal when our people try to get off of these drugs. We're going to go to the next point. The fight when you choose to separate. Oh, there's definitely a big fight when you choose to separate. See, now this is the point in time when the spirit understands that you are drawing your line in the sand. See, before all of that, it was just dance and play, and they knew that you would eventually go back to it and they can just wait it out. But now they're to a point where they say, oh, I'm going to die if I stay here and I don't get fulfilled. If I don't get fulfilled by what you are pleasing me with, I will die here. So I'm either going to have to go to another person, or I'm going to have to stay here and die, or I'm going to have to figure out how to fight you until you go back into the placement that I had you in. I'm going to read that point again for you. The fight when you choose to separate. There is a battle that happens. There is a war that is going on. There is a change in system that when that spirit understands that you are trying to separate yourself from them, they are doing everything in their power to keep that grip on you, to keep that stronghold on you. They are saying you're not going anywhere. You're fighting to get away, and they're fighting to keep you. This is what happens when you finally say, I'm done with alcohol, I'm done with crack, I'm done with cocaine, I'm done with heroin, I'm done with this relationship, I'm done with whatever it is that you are battling with. You understand now why something keeps trying to draw you back and pull you back and keep you away. Because they don't want you to go out of that door of succession. They want you to stay in that room of depression. They want you to stay in that room of not being able to function properly because you are codependent. You are depending on that spirit, and the spirit is depending on you. That spirit is not lawful. It doesn't have a body like we do. So it is depending on you to go and do the things to fulfill them. So you are dependent on them because now you have become addicted to what you do. They are depending on you because now they are addicted to the feeling that you give them. So understand, the day that you decide to separate is the day that they understand that I have to use every tactic in the book that I can to keep you from going out of that door to the next chapter of your life. They want to keep you where you are. They want to keep you in depression and anger and anxiety. They want to keep you from moving on and moving forward. They want to keep you to keep that number one. They want that to be over your family, over your friends, over the Most High, over your job, over your friends, over whatever it is. They want to be the number one thing in your life, and they will do whatever they can to keep you in that position. This is the fight when you separate, when you draw your line in the sand. They are coming for you. Don't give up. You keep fighting. Understand that withdrawal is a spirit, and it is going to be relentless, and it is not going to stop. But eventually, you'll be able to get over it. We're going to go to the next point. The symptoms of the attack: lack of sleep, not eating, not drinking, overwhelming stress, throwing up, shaking. These things all pull from your spirit. Some people don't know. There are things that pull from your spirit. If you don't get enough sleep, eventually the physical body has to pull from the spirit to keep going. If you don't eat, eventually the body has to pull from the spirit to keep going. If you don't drink, eventually, so on and so forth for what I just said. So alcohol, drugs, substance abuse, anxiety, all of these things pull from the spirit, your natural spirit of who you are and who you would be. Withdrawal, depending on what you're dealing with, once you decide to make the choice to say I'm done, now all of these extra things come that you didn't even think about. You didn't think that when you stopped smoking weed. I know me, when I stopped smoking weed, the biggest place I got hit was I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep. And everybody that smoke weed know you got to have that blunt before you go to bed, and it knocks you right out. When I stopped having that, I couldn't sleep. I had a lack of sleep. That spirit was on me. So I'm not going to sit here and act like I don't know what some people are going through, because when you make that choice, there are things that's going to happen. I'm going to read off the other ones just so we can stay on track. So we talked about lack of sleep. Not eating. Anybody who deals with people who going through withdrawal from whatever they're going through, they torture themselves more. And it's not necessarily them. It's more of the spirit behind whatever it is. Usually you can't eat, you can't drink, you can't sleep, you can't do certain things because your body is not intact. So now your spirit is getting pulled from in all of these different directions. Not eating pulls from your spirit. Not sleeping pulls from your spirit. Not drinking pulls from your spirit. Now they are simultaneously pulling from you, and some people know this feeling. I can't say that I know it directly, but I know some people know this feeling of you just don't have it anymore. You almost feel like you're a shell of yourself. You almost feel like you're dead. This is real talk. This is real spiel right here. I know there are people out here who understand what I'm saying and they feel me. Overwhelming stress. The stress that you have when you stop doing certain things in your own mind it's overwhelming. I don't even have to really dive into that. I know that people know. People know how much you're in your head on a daily basis when you used to smoke something and you're not smoking it. It's on your mind every minute of the day. Every minute of the day it's on your mind, and you're so stressed out about it, not realizing that you're conquering at that moment. Throwing up and shaking. This is more for the people who are dealing with the hard drugs. Some of those drugs, when you get off of them, you experience throwing up. You experience shaking. Well, what is that? Is that your spirit fighting, or is that the spirit of the withdrawal fighting? I would say it's both. Because the throwing up is your body detoxing. Throwing up is your body detoxing from all of the drugs. All of the things that you have intaken, your body is finally getting to a point where it can detox because nothing's there to stop it from detoxing. Shaking. What is that? You can't sleep. You're rolling around in the bed. You're shaking. You're cold. You're hot. You're going through all these different processes. This is the body fighting, detoxing. This is your body's understanding of getting these things out of your system. So shaking and throwing up is definitely a spirit. There's a spirit behind it, but this is also part of your body detoxing. So understand that these two are some of the hardest things that you're going to deal with when you're kicking anything, any habit. The shaking, the uncontrollable throwing up, the overwhelming stress, the not eating, the not sleeping, all these things are pulling from your spirit. And it is so hard to get off of the drugs because you have 6 or 7 steps that you have to go through before you can even say, I've kicked it. Some people fail when they start throwing up. They say, I got to get these drugs so I stop throwing up. Some people fail because they're like, I'm shaking, I'm agitated, I'm irritated, my anxiety is going crazy, and they say I got to go get that drug to ease it. But they don't understand that the spirit is just fighting and biting and scratching and kicking and clawing at them because it doesn't want to die and it doesn't want to go to another body because it's easier to stay right here. Understand, my people, that there's an epidemic going on. We have a drug epidemic. We have alcohol. We have all these things that are out here, the substance abuse. I can tell you how many Narcan stands you have out here saying, get a bottle of Narcan just in case you're at home and you overdose or something happens or your mate overdoses. You can give them Narcan so they can live. These are things that I have seen in my life. I've experienced through other people. I've known people who have to be resuscitated through Narcan. People that I was close to. And I've known people who have died and didn't come back from an overdose. They died and didn't come back. And their stories are forever in here. Understand, people, I'm telling you this from experience of love. I'm telling you this from experience of just being out here and seeing what people are going through. We have to fight. We have to kick these things. We have to do whatever we can, use whatever tactics we can to be the winner. Next point. Searching for healing. I think a tough thing about searching for healing for people is the first day you say you're going to get clean, you expect everyone to have a celebration for you. But what you don't understand is you have left a blazing trail. People have had to pick up your pieces for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 5 years, whatever it is. And they're not as enthused about it as you are because they're saying, you stole my TV. You stole my shoes. You sold my car. You crashed my car. You were wilding at the party. You were asleep at the Social Security office. People have stories of the things you have done that were embarrassing, things that were just not right, things that put them in a position of not being right, things that put them in a position of having to cater to your substance abuse or have to cater to the things you have done. So I want people to understand this point, that the first day that you believe that you're clean and you want to tell it to the world, understand that the people around you have had to pick up behind you and had to pick up the pieces that you have left behind on that trail that you were blazing when you were under that influence. So give people time to celebrate you because it's not going to happen on the same day as when you feel. So understand that when you're searching for healing, let the other people search for healing also. Next point. This is the last thing I'm going to say. You will battle in the midst of war. The war isn't over until you die or until you submit. But understand this, people. There are so many people who are battling with drugs and alcohol, substance abuse, and everything that you want to name. People that are battling with abusive domestic relationships and all of that stuff like that. Understand that you will battle every day of your life when you try to get out of these things. The bigger the stronghold, the bigger the battle. Listen to me, people. You are going through something. You are dealing with something that is hard for even the best man to deal with. You're dealing with something that is hard for the best woman to deal with. It is not easy for people to kick habits. A lot of us started with habits either from fun or from influence or from numbing, using it as a numbing agent to escape problems. Understand, people, that eventually that turned into second nature, then second nature turned into a part of your life, and now you are trying to kick it. Understand that you are either going to win or it is going to win, but you have to realize that you are battling. Every day is going to be tough, but when you tell yourself, I'm drawing my line in the sand, I'm not doing it, I'm done with it, understand all of these points that I just told you. There's going to be a war, there's going to be withdrawal, there's going to be spirits trying to get you back into the game. You have to stand firm and stand strong and tell those spirits that no, I am not doing it. I don't care what you do to me. I don't care how you react. it is time for me to move on to the next chapter in my life. This is dedicated to all of the people who are struggling with substance abuse, alcohol abuse, domestic violence relationships, anything that is hindering you, holding you, my people who are dealing with church hurt, my people who are just, you can't function right, people who are improperly functioning, people who are broken, people who are hurt, people who are sad, people who are widows, people who are orphans, people who are dealing with just not feeling like they matter or they are people. On today, I want to tell you that you matter. Someone loves you, and make sure that you love yourself. Find the ways to love yourself and find your way to the Most High. This is your boy Hally. This is Gvg Podcast. We love all of y'all. This is the time to kick substance abuse. But understand it's going to be a war. We love you. We out. Thank you for being a part of this experience. GVG appreciates every single one of you. I hope you came away from this video with a little more perspective, patience, understanding, and purpose. So until next time, we on Christ time.